Welcome to our first Backstage at the Military footage. We've got Sue Benson here. She's the track designer, course designer for Military Boekelo. Sue, tell us a little bit about how did you come involved with the military, and are there things different than last year?
Right, so I became involved some 13 years ago. I've been designing for nearly 20 years, maybe just over 20 years. So coming to Boekelo for the first time 13 years ago was a really fantastic opportunity. And it's like a family now. I've been seen to have been here so long, but every year it's slightly different. I try and produce a different course each year and thoroughly enjoy the whole experience. But sometimes I prefer it if it doesn't rain, but it seems to always rain in Boekelo.
This morning we got some tweets from eventing riders telling us that it's finally Boekelo weather again, huh?
Yeah, it was so sad because we've had the most amazing week. It's been warmer and drier than I've ever experienced before, and I thought maybe for once we're going to get a dry year, but no, I woke up this morning and it's raining, and it's rained all day, so it puts a little more pressure on all of us, riders, organisation, officials. Everyone feels the pressure. We just need to think a little bit harder about how we get vehicles around the course and all those sort of things, because the ground deteriorates very quickly, but it's always sandy soil, so it's always rideable.
And so you tell, of course, the logistics when it rains and the mud comes out is more difficult. But this is also for the contest. Is this a big problem when it's muddy, or does it really not matter too much to the eventing riders?
No, luckily, I think this is why Boekelo survives and will survive forever, because it has amazing soil, which is that it's very sandy, and it may look very wet, and there may be water lying on top of the ground. The vehicles seem to sort of skid about, but horses just get through it. It's not holding ground at all, as we call it, so that the horses just carry on galloping over it, and riders need to just know that it's a little more tiring, and there is the slip factor, but it's not a big factor here because of the sand.
Okay, and what's the biggest challenge in the course this year?
To be honest, I think it comes pretty early on. They sort of have 6 quite nice galloping fences to get them going, and then, as I always say, the party's over, because fence 7 and 8 is a big question, and it's in the middle of the woods, in a little lovely opening in the middle of the woods, and it is technically quite difficult. And then they only have one more fence before the big water, which also is meant to always be fairly demanding and spectacular. So early on, the riders are asked some fairly big questions, so that's what I'd say. Go to 6, 7, 8, and 9 and 10.
Okay, and for the people that we have a lot of followers that don't know the eventing sport too well yet, so how long is a course, for example?
Okay, so this year it's just under 6,000 metres, which is fairly standard for Boekelo. The optimum time for riders to go round with no penalties is 10 minutes 30. So as long as they go 10:30 or under, they don't get time penalties. But historically Boekelo, it's reasonably difficult to get the time, because there are a lot of sort of twists and turns. There's a bit of woodland, and then they can't go at their sort of average speed of 570 metres a minute. So they have to slow down quite often. But then there are some lovely big open fields, and then they can pick up to 700 metres a minute. So all in all, I think you'll usually find that only about 15 out of 100 horses go inside the time, depending a bit on the ground.
Okay, and how many riders do we have that will drive the course tomorrow?
Well, I think at the last count it was 105, which is a lot of horses to go round one track. And of course, the early riders benefit from better ground, but on the other hand, the later riders benefit from having seen what's happened to the earlier riders. So there's a bit of 50-50, really.
Mm-hmm. And the eventing sport is not only the cross country, right? It's composed of more elements. Can you explain a little bit about how these elements come together in the complete of the contest?
Yeah, because riders don't get a prize until they've completed all 3 phases. Firstly, it's dressage, which you could compare to a sort of ballet on horses, and they have to do a set test in front of judges. Then they have to do my cross-country course, which is all about speed and courage and accuracy, athleticism. And then having done that grueling test. The next day they have to come out and pass a soundness test. We always make sure the welfare of the horse is very high on our list. And then they go ahead and do the show jumping course. So show jumping normally you wouldn't think was so big, but when you've got a tired horse that's been galloping for 10.5 minutes, 11 minutes the day before, it then becomes quite a test. And then at the end of all that, the person with the lowest number of penalties wins.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I think that we have some explanation for our viewers about what the sport is about your vision behind this. And we thank you very much, and I wish you good luck for tomorrow.
Yeah, thanks. I need it.